He made a great error in going along with the Nazi movement, hoping it would be good for his country. But if he is to be found guilty, there are others who also went along, who also must be found guilty. What about the rest of the world? Did it not know the intentions of the Third Reich? Did it not hear the words of Hitler's broadcast all over the world? Did it not read his intentions in Mein Kampf, published in every corner of the world? Where's the responsibility of the Soviet Union, who signed in 1939 the pact with Hitler, enabled him to make war? Are we now to find Russia guilty? Where's the responsibility of the Vatican, who signed in 1933 the Concordat with Hitler, giving him his first tremendous prestige? Are we now to find the Vatican guilty? Where's the responsibility of the world leader Winston Churchill, who said in an open letter to the London Times in 1938, 1938, Your Honor, were England to suffer national disaster, I should pray to God to send a man of the strength of mind and will of an Adolf Hitler. Are we now to find Winston Churchill guilty? Where's the responsibility of those American industrialists who helped Hitler to rebuild his armaments and profited by that rebuilding? Are we now to find the American industrialists guilty? No, Your Honor, no. Germany alone is not guilty. The whole world is as responsible for Hitler as Germany. It is an easy thing to condemn one man in the dark. It is easy to condemn the German people, to speak of the basic flaw in the German character that allowed Hitler to rise to power. But at the same time, comfortably ignore the basic flaw of character that made the Russians sign pacts with him, Winston Churchill praise him, American industrialists profit by him. Ernst Janning said, he is guilty. If he is, Ernst Janning's guilt is the world's guilt. No more, and no less.
Why are you people so afraid to just fight for your rights? Your fucking water's being poisoned.
A further 88 suburbs of Melbourne are being told we need to boil our water because of that huge storm that pushed through the city last night, and with it actually put a whole lot of septic water straight into our fresh drinking water.
You can't leave the house.
The stay-at-home restrictions for Metro Melbourne will be enhanced. There will be additional limits to the 4 reasons to leave home. You will no longer be able to leave home or go any further away from your home than a 5-kilometre radius. You will not be able to be at any point more than 5 kilometres away from your home for the purposes of shopping for what you need. Only one person will be able to go shopping once per day. You will be allowed to have 1 hour of exercise no further than 5 kilometres from your home, and there will no longer be able to be any groups bigger than 2, regardless of whether they are from your family or someone else. Ultimately, all of these changes are about limiting movement. All of these changes are about limiting the number of people that we come in contact with.
Your businesses are burnt down. They're never going to open again. People are getting raided for fucking protesting. For organising a protest, people are getting raided. Do you understand how fucked up this is?
Right. Now, you're under arrest in relation to incitement.
Incitement?
Yeah. What's that? Now, you're not obliged to say or do anything, but anything you say or do may be given evidence.
Excuse me, incitement for what? What on earth? Yeah. Excuse me, what on earth?
So just put your phone down.
Can you record
this? I'm in my pyjamas.
What's this?
I have an ultrasound in an hour.
Yeah, she's pregnant, so...
I'll take it easy.
What's this about?
But I have an ultrasound
just let me
in
finish.
an hour.
Let me finish and I'll explain. It's in relation to a Facebook post, in relation to a lockdown protest you put on for Saturday.
Yeah, and I wasn't breaking any laws by doing that.
You are actually. You are breaking law. That's why I'm arresting you in relation to
incitement.
How can you arrest her?
That's in front of my 2 children.
Can't you just say to her, take the post down? Like, come on.
I'm happy to delete the post. This is ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have to give you these caution and rights. You understand? The search warrant He titles us, and we're required to seize any computers, any mobile devices you have. Any mobile telephone you've got, okay? So what we want is any mobile telephone you've got.
You don't need that.
No, that's actually my sister's phone. It's not
Yeah,
my
it's
name.
her sister's.
Doesn't matter. Any device in this house, we're taking.
Can you see how fucked up of a world this is? I don't care who you are. I don't care what walk of life you are from. The moment you start raiding people's houses for even organising a protest, you live in a dictatorship. You live in a fucking dictatorship. Do you understand? You need to open your fucking eyes, Australia, and understand what's happening. This isn't normal. This isn't a mild inconvenience. If we just follow the rules, everything's going back to normal. This isn't normal. This is fucked up beyond belief how crazy this is. So this is what I've got to say to all you spineless fucks out there. Stand up for fucking something in your life. You coffee drinking fucking losers. You spineless fucks. Stand up for something in your life. They ruined our businesses. They've treated us like animals. They're kicking in doors without warrants and taking people away. They're raiding people's houses. They're lying on death certificates.
In cases where a definite diagnosis of COVID cannot be made, but is suspected or likely, like the circumstances are compelling with a reasonable degree of certainty, it is acceptable to report COVID-19 on a death certificate as probable or presumed.
Detail. Let's take it from the CDC itself, which on March 24th, 2020, issued COVID-19 Alert Number 2, new ICD code introduced for COVID-19 deaths, introducing U07.1. And if you read through this document, it says, will COVID-19 be the underlying cause? And it says the underlying cause depends upon what and where conditions are reported on the death certificate. However, the rules for coding and selection of the underlying cause of death are expected to result in COVID-19 being the underlying cause more often than not. It says if the death certificate reports terms such as probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19, these terms would be assigned the new ICD code.
Can you talk about your concerns about deaths being misreported by coronavirus because of either testing or standards for how they're characterized?
So I think in this country, we've taken a very liberal approach to mortality. And I think the reporting here has been pretty straightforward over the last 5 to 6 weeks. The intent is right now that if someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that as a COVID-19 death.
Professor Walter Ricciardi, advisor to Italy's health minister, explained this was caused by the generous way the Italian government handles death certificates. The way in which we code deaths in our country is very generous in the sense that all people who die in hospitals with the coronavirus are deemed to be dying of the coronavirus. On March 20th, the president of Germany's Robert Koch Institute confirmed that Germany counts any deceased person who was infected with coronavirus as a COVID-19 death, whether or not it actually caused death. Northern Ireland's HSC Public Health Agency is releasing weekly surveillance bulletins on the pandemic. In those reports, they define a COVID death as individuals who have died within 28 days of first positive result, whether or not COVID-19 was the cause of death.
They're using palliative care numbers for people that are dying of COVID. The most unethical, immoral thing I've ever heard of in my life. These guys are destroying our way of life, do you understand? And people don't give a fuck. They're so hell-bent on everything's going to be fine if we just listen, if we just pay attention. And to that piece of shit, fat fuck of a police commissioner, the guy who looks like he's had about 55 fucking donuts before he got on stage, saying what we're doing is utterly selfish. No, you piece of shit, you cocksucker. What you're doing is utterly selfish, knowing how COVID isn't that dangerous, knowing the fucking numbers are being fudged, knowing they're fucking lying, knowing what they're doing in the government, and you still support it, you Nazi-fied motherfucker, you fat fuck of a police commissioner.
We have Operation Sentinel-2, which is the vehicle checkpoints. We have Operation Shielding, 160 transit police officers and 80 police officers from transit who are out there every day, and they're making sure that there's public assurance, they're checking who should be in proper areas, and they're enforcing as you would expect them to be doing so. In addition to that, we have Operation Ribbon as well, which is our family violence operation. So there's a whole range of different areas, including Operation Soteria, where we're helping enforcement at quarantine hotels. That period of discretion is, you know, I've said it before, it's virtually closed. Of people, small groups, but nonetheless concerning groups who classify themselves as sovereign citizens, whatever that might mean, people who don't think the law applies to them. On at least 3 or 4 occasions in the past week, we've had to smash the windows of people in cars and pull them out of there so they could provide their details, because they weren't telling us where they were going. They weren't adhering to the Chief Health Officer guidelines. They weren't providing their name and their address. And for those who aren't, there is a consequence. And there are consequences, and I want to be really clear on that.
You fucking piece of shit. Call yourself a person for the people. You're an animal, mate. I don't know how you people sleep at night. But you know what? Karma will come. And understand that God will protect those that need protecting. Right? And all of you people that perpetuated the lie and allowed this to continue, to all those businesses being ruined, understand and remember the Nuremberg trials, mate.
Yanning's record and his fate illuminate the most shattering truth that has emerged from this trial. If he and all of the other defendants had been degraded perverts, if all of the leaders of the Third Reich had been sadistic monsters and maniacs, then these events would have no more moral significance than an earthquake or any other natural catastrophe. But this trial has shown that under a national crisis, ordinary, even able and extraordinary men can delude themselves into the commission of crimes so vast and heinous that they beggar the imagination. No one who has sat through the trial can ever forget them. Men sterilized because of political belief, a mockery made of friendship and faith, the murder of children. How easily it can happen. There are those in our own country, too, who today speak of the protection of country, of survival. A decision must be made in the life of every nation. At the very moment when the grasp of the enemy is at its throat, then it seems that the only way to survive is to use the means of the enemy, to rest survival upon what is expedient, to look the other way. Well, the answer to that is survival as what? A country isn't a rock. It's not an extension of oneself. It's what it stands for. It's what it stands for when standing for something is the most difficult. Before the people of the world, let it now be noted that here in our decision, this is what we stand for. Justice, truth, and the value of a single human being.
You remember when those people hung in the street? You remember that? Because they were just following orders as well. Right? Because everything the government has been doing for the last 8 months has been fucking disgusting. Hasn't been in the interest of public safety, and definitely hasn't been in the interest of the public. It's been in the interest of furthering that Luciferian satanic agenda, which as God as my witness, mate, as God as my witness, I will be there that day. As God as my witness, I will be there that day. And any police officer who's attending that protest and believes that you're doing the right thing by stopping those people from being there, I'm sorry, mate, if there's 70 or 80,000 fucking people standing there, that is not a conspiracy. That is the public concerned. So do whatever you want, because no matter what happens, no matter who gets arrested, those fucking people will be standing there. Do you understand? Because if you people don't stand there on that day, if you people don't stand up on that fucking day and be there, if you don't see that's the most important event of your life right now, then this country is lost. I'm not going to waste another ounce of my energy trying to work with spineless fucks, and you all deserve the injection.
Daily exercise is just that. It's an opportunity to get some exercise. It is not an opportunity to live our lives as if this pandemic was not real and was not here and was not literally the biggest challenge we've perhaps ever faced.
You know, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, you know, I'd say is will get attention this time.
You want that life? No problem. Stay at home, relax, wait for everything to come back to normal, right? Because I'm telling you now, you don't rock up on that day, there won't be another one. This is it. Do you understand? This is it. So, to that scumbag of a police commissioner, that fucking piece of shit, what a piece of work he is. Tinfoil hat. Yeah, we'll see what when there's 100,000 people standing there if there's still tinfoil hats. Please, Australia, wake up, man. Wake up. And I'm telling you, if you're not there on the 5th, you don't deserve your freedom. And you deserve every fucking thing that's coming to you, mate. And every single one of you that sat there and persecuted and laughed, you're going to remember my fucking face one day, mate. You're going to remember my face when you're sitting there crying in a little ball on the ground in hysterics because your whole world has crashed around you because your life is fucking over. You're going to remember my face.
And particularly one incident, if I like to highlight the type of challenges that we're experiencing. Last night, a 26-year-old policewoman was on patrol with another partner down in the Frankston area near the Bayside Shopping Centre. During that time, they approached a 38-year-old woman who wasn't wearing a mask. After a confrontation and being assaulted by that woman, those police officers went to ground and there was a scuffle. And during that scuffle, this 38-year-old woman hit the head, smashed the head of the policewoman several times into a concrete area on the ground. That behaviour is just totally unacceptable. That's someone who thinks they're above the law. They're not wearing a mask, they're approached and they're asked their reason why not, and then to react like that is just completely over the top. It's this type of irresponsible behaviour that we're going to address. That woman was taken back to the police station. She was charged with significant offences and bailed due to no criminal history. But nonetheless, it just goes to show how these things escalate.